Before the money, fame, and worldwide recognition, some of the NBA's elite players were actually teammates in high school, leading many of the most storied high school programs to legendary seasons. Let's take a look at some of the top NBA players that were high school teammates. Tristan Thompson, Corey Joseph, and Avery Bradley. High school basketball has never seen dominance quite like Findlay Prep's 2009 season. Behind three future NBA pros, Avery Bradley, Tristan Thompson, and Corey Joseph, Findlay Prep went 33-0 and won its first national high school championship. Findlay Prep's backcourt of Bradley and Joseph packed a combination of size, speed, and skill that was unmatched at the high school level. On the interior, the 6'10" Thompson, who transferred to Findlay Prep prior to 2009 from St. Benedict's High School in New Jersey, turned away any opposing guard, wing, or big man who dared to test the eventual number 4 overall pick at the rim. The three have gone on to enjoy long NBA careers, but none has had the type of success that the trio enjoyed during their storied 2009 run for Findlay Prep. Few NBA players and former high school standouts have. D'Angelo Russell and Ben Simmons. D'Angelo Russell and Ben Simmons were teammates at the basketball prep powerhouse Montverde Academy for a year and a half and formed one of the most dominant duos that high school basketball has ever seen. After spending his freshman year in his hometown of Louisville, Kentucky, Russell transferred to Montverde in 2011. Simmons, the son of former Australian Basketball League star Dave Simmons, arrived at Montverde from Australia in 2013. Off the court, the two couldn't have been more opposite. Russell was a trash talker and a prankster. He always seeked the spotlight and attention. Simmons preferred to live in the shadows, typically spending most of his days inside playing video games. But sometimes opposites attract, and that was the case for this pair. Once Russell and Simmons got on the court together, the duo was smooth as butter. As teammates, Russell and Simmons led Montverde to a 45-2 record and national championships in 2013 and 2014. Imagine trying to stop a natural point guard like Simmons in transition, only to have him dish it off to Russell, who's spotting up from beyond the arc. How about attempting to lock down Russell on a perimeter while he has a 6'10" lob target in Simmons streaking towards the rim? You wouldn't have had an answer, and neither did any defense. Kawhi Leonard and Tony Snell. When Kawhi Leonard and Tony Snell were teammates at Martin Luther King High School in Riverside, California, they used to talk about how one day they'd be playing in the NBA. Well, both are men of their word. Leonard is in his 9th NBA season and coming off an NBA championship and Finals MVP performance, while Snell has been in the league for 7 years. In high school, teams must have had to do a double take when playing against Martin Luther King, because Leonard and Snell didn't just play the same, they looked the same. The two stood around 6'7" and packed loads of athleticism, and both of them sported cornrows. Leonard and Snell had well-rounded games in high school. They were rangy and talented defenders who could lock up an opposing team's best player and could also carry their team's offensive scoring load. Imagine having to guard Kawhi Leonard in high school. Now, imagine having to guard 2 Kawhi Leonards in high school. That's what it was like to guard Martin Luther King's dynamic duo. Kevin Durant and Ty Lawson were teammates during their junior seasons at legendary Oak Hill Academy in Virginia, but practically grew up together in the DMV, the DC, Maryland, Virginia basketball hotbed that has turned out countless NBA players. When they were younger, Durant and Lawson played AAU basketball together and established a special type of chemistry during the summers, so once they both arrived on Oak Hill's campus, it was over for their competition. Lawson was one of the quickest point guards when he played in the NBA, so just imagine him in high school. He'd fly up and down the court faster than a speeding bullet, weaving in and out of defenders just as he did during his 8-year NBA career. And you wanted to stop Durant too? Forget about it. No one could guard KD in high school, just like no one can guard him now. At 6'10", he was a mismatch nightmare. Try and guard him out of the perimeter, and Durant would use his first step to drive right by you. Slide off of him at the 3-point line, and KD would swish a triple right in your eye. Durant had a technical post game at Oak Hill too, making this high school duo truly unstoppable. Jeremy Grant and Victor Oladipo. Jeremy Grant and Victor Oladipo joined forces at DeMatha Catholic High School in Hyattsville, Maryland. But like many NBA players who were teammates in high school, their friendship originated long before then. Grant and Oladipo met all the way back in 7th grade. Oladipo, who was 2 years older than Grant, was best friends with Grant's older brother, Jerian, who played in the NBA for 4 seasons. But Grant and Oladipo eventually grew close after spending a lot of time around one another. At DeMatha, Grant and Oladipo formed an inside-outside combination that led them to loads of success. But success in life doesn't come without hard work, and Grant and Oladipo definitely put in the work. They'd get up at the crack of dawn to hone their skills at DeMatha hours before before classes started, hoping that one day they'd achieve their ultimate goal of playing in the NBA. Maybe, just maybe, they'd become teammates again too. That happened in 2016 when Grant was traded to Oklahoma City just 4 months after the Thunder had acquired Oladipo. A childhood dream was achieved. Jamal Murray and Thon Maker. Imagine if 2 high school teammates were selected in the same NBA draft. That high school team would have been pretty dominant. Now, imagine if those 2 players from the same high school both went in the top 10 of that draft. That would be pretty crazy. But it's exactly what happened to Jamal Murray and Thon Maker, who played together at Orangeville Prep in Canada in 2015. In 2016, the Denver Nuggets selected Murray 7th overall, and Maker was drafted by the Bucks 3 picks later. The 6'4" Murray and the 7' Maker formed a powerful pairing in high school. The two got it done from everywhere on the floor. Both Murray and Maker were dead-eye shooters from 3 while at Orangeville Prep, but the duo could also handle the ball as well and get into the teeth of the defense at will, slicing and dicing their way to the basket. They were a dominant inside-outside pairing. Kyrie Irving and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist met Kyrie Irving during his sophomore year of high school after Irving had just transferred to St. Patrick's High School from nearby Montclair Kimberly Academy. The two formed a close bond in gym class where they played tackle football and pick-up basketball games against one another, and that chemistry eventually translated to the hardwood. In their first season as teammates, Irving and Kidd-Gilchrist won the New Jersey Tournament of Champions title. Then, in Irving and Kidd-Gilchrist's second season as teammates, St. Patrick's compiled a 24-3 record and won the Union County Tournament title. No one could stop this high school pairing. Kidd-Gilchrist was arguably the country's top defender, a big reason why after 1 season of college ball at the University of Kentucky, he was drafted 2nd overall by Charlotte. Irving was an unstoppable scorer, something he's gone on to do at a high level in the NBA for the Cavs, Celtics, and Nets. Irving and Kidd-Gilchrist brought it on both ends of the court. Jordan Clarkson and Andre Robertson. You may not have heard of Wagner High School located in San Antonio, Texas, but Wagner has pumped out its fair share of college prospects over the years. How did Wagner's rise to high school basketball prominence start? Well, in 2009, Jordan Clarkson and Andre Robertson led the Thunderbirds to back-to-back state semifinals appearances, laying the groundwork for a decade of success at the high school level. Years before Clarkson and Robertson teamed up at Wagner, they got acquainted with one another in elementary school. At Wagner, Robertson and Clarkson were the perfect complementary players. Robertson was a defensive maestro who could guard all 5 positions and went on to become one of the nation's top rebounders at the University of Colorado and one of the NBA's best perimeter defenders with the Thunder. Clarkson could always fill it up in a hurry and was a high-volume scorer from his Wagner days through his NBA season when he gave the Utah Jazz a much-needed scoring punch off the bench. Together, they ran circles around San Antonio high school basketball. CJ McCollum and Kosta Koufos. You've seen the picture before, the one of 5'2" CJ McCollum crossing his defender up during his freshman year of high school. Well, the big hulking center that's running behind CJ in that photo, it's none other than Kosta Koufos, who was McCollum's high school teammate for 2 seasons at Glen Oak High School in Plain Township, Ohio. Like many of the past top high school pairings, McCollum and Koufos were a deadly inside-outside combination. No one had a recipe to stop McCollum's slick handles and shot making, while few high schoolers at the time had an answer for a 7-footer like Koufos on the low block. During McCollum's sophomore season, he and Koufos led Glen Oak to the state semifinals, but ultimately lost, a defeat which still stings McCollum to this day. Fortunately, the two have gone on to have long pro careers. McCollum was undersized in high school and didn't have a lot of high Division I offers out of high school, so he had to get to the NBA unconventionally by attending Weber State University. Koufos was a blue-chip recruit and played his college ball at Ohio State before turning pro. Harrison Barnes and Doug McDermott. Harrison Barnes and Doug McDermott entered high school together in 2006, but didn't play together until they were both juniors. From the minute Barnes stepped onto the campus at Ames High School, he joined the varsity basketball team while McDermott had to work his way up. Great things come to those who wait, and when McDermott joined Barnes on the varsity team in 2009, Ames High School reeled off 53 straight wins and won back-to-back state championships. For Ames, Barnes was the focal point and #1 option. He played on the wing, but also ran some point guard and was the top recruit in the country as a senior, going on to star at the University of North Carolina. McDermott was the perfect complement to Barnes and played his natural position of power forward. He quickly gained a reputation as a dangerous three-point shooter, a reputation which he's carried to the NBA. Barnes and McDermott's Batman and Robin pairing set a new standard for Iowa high school basketball.